All right, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to look at my last matches of Season 12. I kind of got into C2 from playing around with the fun team, the Azalea team, Aria team. So I had to kind of climb. And so I found this team. I just pulled Amduat, which I was super excited about. And so I wanted to make a team around him. And now that you can make a team whenever you want, I've been making teams like crazy. I've been making a team and completely clearing them, making a new team and completely clearing them. So it's giving me the freedom to play around with more units than I would normally be able to in a normal free rune removal cycle. So I'm really liking the free all the time rune removal for RTA. It's a lot more fun for me. So here's how this team works. It's all speed-based AoE damage dealers, and it's Cleave. I've seen a similar team from Math Plus Games. He ran it with the double Horus, I believe. So there's several people doing something similar, but it's kind of fun. And so what my team does is it's got double speed leader in Gemini and Shimitae, and everybody's pretty fast, like nothing slower than 270. And so the main object of the team is you strip with Gemini, you buff attack power and speed with Kali, and that's really important because they're all speed-based damage dealers, so it's like a double attack buff. It's an attack buff and a speed buff. And then you just do tons of AoE damage with the 3 speed-based AoE damage dealers. So let's see how it works. This was with when the buffs were on, or the transmogs were on, and getting to see this Amduat transmog, I'm like, ooh, I really like that. So I might have to buy that one. So you can see they've already killed off one of my units, but we're still looking okay. There's a couple things that very easily wreck this team, and we'll see those as well, I'm sure. But in general, it's a pretty effective team. It puts the enemy in a certain situation where they're kind of on their heels, and they have to do a couple of things perfectly, or they really don't have any shot against it. And so this guy used a team that works against a lot of forms of quick clear, but not really this form. I just got too far ahead of him. All right. There's our first one. I think I fight the same guy twice, which is unfortunate for him, but you get to see how someone might respond to getting a second chance. So he goes with double speed lead, even though Fran's not a huge speed lead. Triple speed lead, Miho, and then finally the Tyrannus. So he's got 2 revivers. He's got one thing that never dies on crit, and you know I'm going to crit a bunch. So I think it's a fine draft by him in an attempt to live, but we'll see how it works out. With my team, I've experimented with placing all the units as the first pick. I think Poseidon might be the best of them all. Amduat's the most element neutral, but Poseidon, I think, this team really doesn't want to face a ton of fire-heavy stuff. It doesn't want to face Antares, it doesn't want to face Vanessa. So if you put the water out there first, some kind might sort of dissuade them from going full fire. I don't know if that sort of tiny little thing matters, but it's something to think about. Alright, so we get the strip. He bans the attack buff, speed buff this time. Alright, we're already killing stuff. And yeah, we're killing stuff. And he's in the same situation as last time where he's just too far behind. That was actually an easier win for me. So I don't know. It's a fun team, and what's nice about it is I can use it in 20 star to kind of mess around with it more because it's 20 star. So I might play with that. Oh, here's a good example, I think, of how it can fail. So let's take a look. This feels like a fail to me. So basically what's going on here is the biggest problem this team has is if I don't get to go sequentially my whole team, I'm in really bad shape. And so these kind of single target cleaves, the single target nuke, I know it's not a cleave, that I used to use, they have a big advantage, and they have double attack bar boosters that both should be faster than most of my team. And then they sync them up when they get to go. So I banned the speed lead to hopefully kind of hold that down a little bit. I don't know if that's correct. The other option would be to ban the Draco and hope that everything's not tuned to the Bastet, which is sometimes the case, but that's a big hope, especially with a speed lead like that. So let's take a look. So in this case, our first 2 get to go, and then our third one gets to go, and that's game over. What that means is that with my 24% speed lead, I outsped his boosters. So I had the 24% speed lead. My Shimitae is around 270 speed. So that tells us that his boosters were under about 294, 295, which is good for me, bad for him. There's a couple of things built in that helps my team get over that little issue. And it's that the Poseidon is a little bit faster than everybody else. He's like 281. And the other great thing about the Poseidon is he will AoE put everyone's attack bars to 0. So if I can get the Poseidon through and get him to move, he gives me a pretty good chance of taking that lead there. If they somehow get double speed lead, it's a problem. All right, so we get the defense buff, defense break, and then we get our move off, so we're done. And then the Amduat. The other nice thing that helps me overcome that little issue is the Amduat, in that if they do take a turn, Amduat usually cuts because of the nature of his passive, the fact that he gets 25% bar. He's already 270. As soon as they take a turn, he gets 25 plus speed. So it's pretty effective. Here's somebody doing what I think is the hardest thing for me to beat, the double speed lead. And in this case, I decided to gamble on their speed lead with Bastet. That's the slowest configuration I can figure out for their team, because usually Dracos are faster than Bastets. I'm not a giant fan of having that Diana there, because Diana also counters my team. So they've got double speed lead, double booster, and an AoE discourager in Diana, and that's bad. Those are all counters. Here comes the Diana. Doing Diana things. Gets the stun, which is huge. Holds my damage back. Then the stun from Garo. And she gets to kill one of my damage dealers before it does any damage. So probably already lost right there. Definitely lost there. So really what I should have done there is ban the Diana and take my chances at the speed. Because it's hard to speed tune a Garo to one booster. To do boosters is pretty easy, so I would have to have a cut there. But if the Amduat does cut, it does an AoE bar reduce and a slow. So it's a pretty effective deterrent on turn 2 if they don't have will. So if I can ban the Draco and get the Amduat to go, sometimes that's pretty nice. All right, this is another tough one for me with the double fire. But I do have the AoE damage dealer in Shimitae, so it's not totally lost. But the fact that they're triple fire and I'm no water is a little bit troubling. But we'll see. I'm going to get my whole combo off, and then Triana's going to get to cut. See, this is actually okay, the fact that Ophelia's there, because I can still do all my moves through Ophelia. I can just target her and keep doing stuff. It's fine. So now I feel like as soon as you have an opportunity on a Leica, you got to go all in, and luckily I get it. So that was more scary than it turned out actually being. The fact that the Ophelia cut, but it doesn't do anything to my team is really handy. It doesn't heal or anything like that. It just makes you target it, but I'm not single target, so it's fine. So this team, I think, needs a couple little things to supplement it, and I haven't really figured out what those are. But just some specific counter picks, like here, maybe a Josephine would be nice, because nothing's going to go wrong with Amduat Josephine. Like if I needed to split into a completely different comp, I could, an anti-control comp. You know, I could go Fire Monkey King, something like that, which is not as effective as it used to be, I guess, but still pretty good. I've seen some good ones. This guy is interesting. He's got control with just pure RNG winning units. So I take out the Garo because the Garo enables the Okeanos' speed. And we get the bar reduction where we need it, so we're feeling pretty good there. Don't quite get the Miho. Getting the Miho is going to be tough. There goes Shimitae. Gets the one sleep. Nice stun there by the Miho. And a really nice sleep. And now I think I'm kind of on the back foot here. I mean, it's still 3-on-2, so I, in theory, have an opportunity here, but I've got two critters against something that never dies. So I'd have to get fairly lucky to not crit. And as you can see, that doesn't happen there. So Miho wins again. The Poseidon is actually a fairly new pull for me as well. I pulled him just a couple months ago, and I haven't invested into him like at all because I already have water AoE units that do certain things. But when I kind of came up with this team, I had a few Devilmon, and I was like, let's do it. And none of them went into skill 1, so I felt like it was a pretty good investment to buff up that skill 3. So we'll see. The other interesting part of this comp is the Collie. The Collie does the attack buff and the speed buff, but she pretty close to guarantees herself a second turn in that invincibility that comes along with that buff. The other option there would be the Wind Barbarian, who is interesting. He provides the exact same 2 buffs. He's a little faster. He has a little bit more self-sustainability, so that's pretty nice. But he's wind, and wind is sort of an issue. Whereas Kali kind of helps clean up all the things that normally murder me. But I haven't quite made a decision on which is better. The Wind Barbarian, the nice part of that one is that it's more likely to go again in the way that he cycles when his third's on cooldown. He gets like 30 speed. And so my Kali's built like 303, something like that. So the Wind Barbarian, as soon as he moved, he'd be like 333, 335. He'd be really, really fast. So he might be able to get around to his brand on 2, which then gives him 50% bar, and on it goes. I haven't quite made up my mind on that. So he cuts in there, but it doesn't matter, and we just nuke it. So that was kind of lucky. That was, okay, that wasn't really lucky. That was the Amduat doing what it's supposed to do. He cut in. It wasn't enough to not let the Amduat with his passive go next, and then we went next. So it's kind of a little bit of anti-cut-in protection. But again, if I could get a little bit more speed on that Amduat, he's right at like 270, and if I could get him to like 275, even almost 280, that would be amazing. But, there's only so many sets. I mean, this team is running 2 300 speed sets, a 280 set, and like 2 270 sets, and they have to have damage, so that's hard. Luckily, same kind of thing. We get just enough damage in to really put us in the driver's seat, and now he's controlling, but I'm not super stressed. Nice little crit on win there. And we're asleep again, but we're fine. The only thing I haven't really figured out about this team that I think is important is in terms of speed tuning. Like, I know with Bernard, when he boosts your bar and he gives you speed buff, it's like an extra 4%. So it boosts like 30%, and then the speed buff is like a 4-ish% for your team. I'm wondering how the Kali affects my team like that, because she speed buffs, so all the other units get a ton of speed extra, right? So how does that affect the way they're tuned, right? That's the only part I haven't quite figured out. I think it's an extra 4%, so maybe my Poseidon, instead of being 281, is now 285. I don't know. But that's the only part I'm sort of unclear on. I've looked into it a little bit, but I haven't really figured it out, so maybe one of y'all out there that knows more about it, how much speed you get from a speed buff, because it's helpful. It's super helpful. So here's one where I don't get the defense break, and I just win anyway, so it's okay. You either have to get the buffs or the defense break, and since I bring those 2 units, you're going to get one or the other. The other thing I'm thinking about with Kali is she's built high crit. I'm wondering if I should build her low crit, tons of attack, because she's a glass cannon anyway. Maybe that'll help with some of those units like Miho. I don't know. That's something to think about. But I need her fast, so there's only so many options I have. So this guy brings double speed lead, actually triple speed lead, double booster, and the lowest speed lead is 28. So he should go first. He should definitely go first. He's done everything he can to go first. And he does. And that's unfortunate, but I kind of get to go. It's just, they're so hard to kill. I don't think I can win. I mean, that's not a horrible showing considering going second. But I think that Garrow is a hard stop for my team. I'd have to kill him with Gemini, which, what are the odds of that? 30%. Got to get him low and then 30%. But yeah, I think that's all she wrote on this one. Which is okay, I mean, you can't win them all. And especially, I'm not changing. I'm sticking with my team, even when it's clearly countered, which is, a pretty good way to lose. But that's kind of how I do it. It's not super smart, but I like to just pick a team and stick with it. And especially when I'm messing around, I want to see how it'll go. I need to know its flaws, right? So in this instance, I picked the Shimitae earlier because I thought they might do a Shimitae pick. That team they run there with the double boosters sometimes run Shimitae all the time as their second speed booster, so I wanted to grab it. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I don't know if I should. but it looked okay. I was like, I can do this. But I actually don't remember if we win or not. That's unfortunate. So that was kind of interesting. In the cut, his Heartite cut in, and then decreased whatever the stats on my collie. I wish there was some way it would show that, kind of like how what is it, like destroy shows on your bar. I wish the bar would change color or something so you'd know, because there's no way to really document it in match. You're just like, oh yeah, she's terrible. But the collie's kind of already done her job, which I'm kind of happy about. In theory, he'll blow up this damage dealer and I'll be in big trouble. Yep, that's the way to do it. If he had left the bomb, I'd have no chance, but got outspeeded, you know? Just a couple left. But overall, I was really impressed with this team. I did not expect it to perform as well as it did. I was sort of like, oh, well, I'm C2. That's fine. I'm just going to play around in C2. But it actually got me up to C3, which for the first time ever playing a team with a brand new unit, that's more than I could have hoped for, you know? So the only thing there is we're going through Will, and they're pretty tanky. You can see the damage differential. I mean, we're still doing pretty good damage, but he's intentionally a super tanky team, and he's built correctly, which is also a hard counter. I don't think I have much of a shot here. Still give it a go, though. All right, we got 1 kill on him. Only need like 3 more. Whenever I have to get into not my AoE skills, you know you're in trouble. So we killed that thing again. Oh, I remember this match. This is the one that was weird. He couldn't quite kill anyone for whatever reason. Like, I don't understand. I guess I was targeting the right thing, because that druid is definitely good damage when it goes off, and everything else just couldn't quite do much. And so I just kind of hung around for forever. And I mean, I stuck with it because I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to give up. I think I actually made some mistakes in giving that thing 5 buffs again. Alright, we got the kill before he healed, which was really handy. But I could have not given him any buffs and been in really good shape. And then we AoE. We get through all the way back to the AoE again. We win. Pretty lucky, I guess. But we'll take it. First pick, Water Monkey. I don't know why I first picked Shimitae there. I don't think that was smart. I should have gone Poseidon. Just because I'm putting elemental disadvantage into his first pick, and then he goes heavy fire, which I'm not a giant fan of. But then he bans my wind anyway, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And this should just be a normal, kind of a clean sweep. Almost killed the Triana with the water, which would have been awesome. But then we finish her off, and everybody's looking a little weak. Perna's done, and then we're done. All right. Last one here. See our first pick. Those two are my first 2 picks. They're the Amduat, Poseidon. I think part of it is maybe they don't know exactly what's coming because it's kind of weird, and they think I'm just messing around, which, I mean, it's a team, but it's not a normal team. I don't think I've seen this team much. I like where he went with this. He's like, you know what? I'll just go really, really fast. I've got super fast units. Let's go. But then I'm just going to ban the speed lead and see how it goes. He's still got the 10% speed lead, but a 24 is not to be messed about with. Cuts in with the Lauren, which is interesting that the Lauren is faster than his Bernard and his Triton. It's kind of weird. The interesting thing there is I get to cut back with my AoE due to the Lauren taking a turn. And then everybody else doesn't quite do enough. So now the Lauren's down, that's a win. If you've ever fought a Lauren, once you kill the Lauren, you feel so good. Laurens are, if they stick around, they're just poison to everything. Alright, so we're elementally disadvantaged with the Poseidon, but the Kali is no joke. We just got to get this Bernard because it's got the defense break. And the Poseidon hangs in there just enough that we're fine. Feel okay with the way that turned out. And that's it. So that got me to C3. You'll notice it's not quite enough. I had to play 1 more match to safely get into the range, and it was like a day or so later. And it was actually against an actual Guardian player, which that whole climb, you'll notice there were no Guardian players. I think had I faced all Guardian players, that would have gone very different. But in those 15 plus the other one I played, it went 12-4, which is really, really good. I mean, it's hard to climb if you're not having a good win rate like that. So had I had my normal like 55% win rate, something like that, no chance. So 12-4 got me back into C3. Not that it really matters because these auras are kind of funky. But that's fine. You know, it's a nice little thing to do. So we did that. We're going to look at the stats real quick of the team. We'll just go through them. You can pause them if you want. That's unfortunate that guy's using double Violent Broken, but what are you going to do? There's the Kali real fast. Good crit on Destroy. Shimitae, 271 speed. He's full accuracy, 303. And then the Amduat, 76% crit and 270 speed. The lagmoron, I don't know that I show you those runes. No. The lagmoron's there. He's built. He's similar. But he's wind. I don't know. I haven't tried hard switching him out for it. I don't know who it would be for, because I think the Poseidon and the Amduat are both necessary. I could maybe switch him out for the Poseidon just to get those runes up into the 290 range, which might be really amazing. But being wind is a bit of an issue, so I'm still playing around with it. The other option that I have not tried yet is doing the Immensity as another damage dealer, because he can buff crit rate and buff himself to get another turn. So in terms of damage, that's pretty nice. But again, him being wind, I'm not sure. So I can play around with that. Just I found in testing the wind units, you want to get as few wind units as possible because there's so much fire out there and it's gross. All right, so that's the team. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Good luck in the special league that's starting here pretty soon. And I'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody.